If you want a great relationship, there are some things you should never do for a man. Even if you like him, even if you are in love with him, you never want to do these things for a man. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 of these things to help you not only keep your self-esteem high, but lead you to the great relationship that you want to create. Check this out. When you abandon yourself to keep somebody else, we ultimately lose our power. If you say things like, I want to wait for intimacy until I'm at a certain level of commitment and connection in the relationship, and the guy pressures you, that's a him problem. That is not a you problem. Remember, you've got to be willing to scare off the wrong guy faster to make room for the right guy faster. The first thing that you never do for a man, no matter how much you like him, is you never abandon your boundaries. And it can be really easy when you like someone to make concessions and to kind of shift certain things about yourself or stretch what you're willing to do because you really like them. You want to meet them halfway. But know this, when we find ourselves abandoning our true boundaries, the standards that we have, in search of not making them angry or not pushing them away or ultimately simply pleasing them, that is often rooted in a fear of abandonment. People pleasing is rooted in fear of abandonment. Ultimately, what happens is you abandon yourself. One of the biggest boundaries that we will hold in relationships is when we sleep with somebody else, when we're gonna have sex with them. If you hold true to your boundaries, something magical happens. I've had so many clients that came into my coaching having not honored their boundaries, slept with a guy, then he doesn't call her back or he ghosts her, and the sting of having not only been rejected, but also degraded their own boundaries or not held true to their own boundaries, and their own self-esteem drops. Contrary, when that client then stays true to her own boundaries and says, hey, I want this level of connection before I sleep with somebody. And then the guy goes her, because some guys do, right? They're only interested in just having sex, so they're not going to stick around. What happens is amazing. Yes, she still feels the sting of being rejected, but her own self-esteem, her own self-confidence, her self-worth increases because she stayed true to her boundaries. She didn't have to waste months with the wrong guy before she sent him packing and making room for the right guy. Because the man who can't honor your boundaries up front isn't built for the kind of love that you are worthy of. If saying no to him requires a flow chart, a TED talk, and 3 disclaimers from you, you're not in a relationship. You're more like in a hostage situation with better lighting. The second thing you should never do is make this guy your entire life. Now, you might be the person who this isn't your issue at all. You're super independent. You've got your business, you've got your life, you've got the things that you're doing. Or you might be the individual where you've got all of those things, but there's a part of you that knows and is afraid of losing yourself when you meet someone you are entirely in love with, because you have a history of abandoning parts of your life or parts of yourself because of the relationship. So this is where you get to make a decision on who you're going to be, even when you're madly, beautifully in love with somebody else. And one of the things that can help is to understand that enmeshment kills attraction. When your identity becomes all about him and what he wants to do in his life and giving and serving, especially if you're heart-centered. If you're a giver, this can be easier to do. And so knowing that when you become all about him, it actually kills the attraction because the person that he's fallen in love with begins to fade. The bright, vibrant version of you becomes less vibrant. It becomes more like a dulled version of you. So having that as a mindset can help us know, oh, keeping myself, who I am and what I love and what my life is all about actually serves the relationship long-term, is the bedrock that you can stand on to make the decisions to help keep your independence. You want to keep your friendships. You want to nurture your passions, the thing that you love doing. You're not stopping going kayaking or going to yoga because your guy wants pizza night and he wants you by his side. There is room for both. One of my clients talked about the pattern that she used to have where she'd get into a relationship and it was slow but sure that over the course of that relationship, she would stop hanging out with her friends, stop hanging out with her family, start to do things that he liked to do. She got into paddleboarding because he liked to do it. And it was all about his life, his friends, his timing. After 6 months, when they broke up, she realized, wow, I had completely lost myself. She had lost what she loves, lost her friends, and she committed never again. And now she's dating in ways that really honor herself and what it is that she loves. When your social life gets replaced with Dave's availability, his schedule, that is not love, That is glorified babysitting, just with fewer snacks. The third thing that you never do for a man, even when you like him, is you never chase him when he pulls away. Anxious attachment makes us want to close the gap when someone pulls away. When we chase someone, it's important that we know that chasing them actually drives them further away. There's a reason they've pulled back. They require the space. Now, it might not be healthy that they've pulled back. It might be an indication that you're with a guy who's an avoidant, or you're with a guy who's not emotionally mature, or not ready for a relationship, or doesn't like you and doesn't want to go the distance, whatever that is. But chasing never solves that challenge. It never solves that issue. The best chance at getting the outcome you want, if you want the two of you to be back together, is to hold your ground, is to own your value, own your worth, and know this, that a healthy man is going to use space to reflect, not escape. And he's going to reflect, and then he's going to reconnect. Let me tell you what chasing is not. Chasing is not sending a text message saying, hey, can we talk? That's completely fine. That's not chasing. Chasing is when you get into the blue. You start texting again and again, and then you start professing your love for them and wanting them back and wishing them back. All of that energy will repel him and push him away. So what do we do when we're not chasing? When we're not chasing, we're watching what he does. We're watching how he communicates. We're watching how he pulls away. Because a man's behavior in the quiet moments, when things get real, is going to tell you who he is. Not just what he says when everything's going great, but how he shows up when things are at a struggle, or when he's facing an emotional paradigm, an intimacy paradigm, like things are too close. There's a great quote that says, who you're being speaks so loudly I cannot hear what you're saying. So watch who he's being and let that be the indicator of whether or not this is the guy you want to choose. The next thing that you should never do for any man is never try to fix him, for lots of reasons. Number one is, if you are with a guy and you see potential, but you don't see the reality of that right now, you're not actually dating him. You're dating some fictitious future version of this guy that has yet to manifest, yet to become real. There was a friend of mine who was telling me a story recently about her last boyfriend showed up on the first date wearing sweatpants and unshaven. And there was a part of her going, oh, like, I don't really like that, but he's got a lot of other good qualities and maybe I can help him get some style and shave and do all of those kinds of things. And so she did her best to try to get him to dress more the way she wanted and look more the way she wanted. At the end of the day, he resented her for not just loving him the way that he wanted to be, and he completely let down her expectations of what she wanted, and both of them were left feeling like this was not a good relationship. So a couple things occur. Number one is realizing that you don't have this guy if you're trying to date potential. And number two is when you move into the mode of trying to fix him, trying to help him be more positive minded, or try to help him be more ambitious, or try to help him be more the fashion or the look the way you want him to look, what happens is you move into mom mode. And mom mode diffuses attraction. Mom mode kills the romantic connection because you're the one taking care of him, and he feels like ultimately that he's actually not enough without your support. So many women I know try to coach their men into being better, more ambitious, more successful, whatever it is. Know that that is a mistake. That's a facade. You're not trying to help him. You're trying to fix him, especially early in the relationship. So release the desire to try to fix the guy. Date the man who's in front of you. And if the man in front of you is not the man that you want, release him, because the man you do want is trying to find his way into your life. And know this, that the guy who's in front of you, there's a woman who's a great match for him, just the way he is. Just like there is a great match for you, just the way that you are. Now you might be saying, well, Matt, can't we help each other grow? Can't we help each other become better? Yes, you can. And you can inspire growth. And the best way to inspire growth is with who you are being. It's very challenging to force growth on someone else when they don't naturally want it for themselves. Because remember, you are not Home Depot. Your man should come fully assembled, no instructions needed. And the last thing you never want to do for a man is you never want to overinvest in the relationship. And the word overinvest is very specific because we want to invest. We want to give. You're a giver. You've got a big heart. You want to show up as the person that you are. He wants to show up. You're giving into each other. But what overinvesting is is where you are stacking up all kinds of investments into the relationship. Time investment, emotional investment, intimacy investment, financial investment. You're driving across town to be with him. You're planning dates. You're checking in with him. Hey, you want to hang out this weekend? And here's something we can do. Those kinds of things, when you're way out in front of him, in terms of the amount that you're giving, a couple things happen. The attraction deflates because now he is no longer having the reward of providing for you and the satisfaction of masculine energy to know that he's actually delivering something that you would love. And number two is, if he doesn't match your level of investment, then you're setting yourself up for being highly disappointed, if not resentful, of the situation. And so what you want to do is you want to keep the pacing. Imagine the two of you are out for a run. You want to jog together. You don't want to get way so far out in front of him with the amount that you're contributing to the relationship. Some of us were taught early growing up from our parents that we've got to be perfect to earn love. Some of us were taught the more that we give, the more that we do, the more other people are going to like us. And we think that that translates into dating. And there's a certain amount that we have to give, but it's counterintuitive because some of what you must give in a relationship with a masculine man is you must give him the opportunity to serve you. You must give him the opportunity to provide. Give him the opportunity to lead in certain ways. You both can lead, you both can give, you both can provide, but if you're doing all of it, then it deflates the attraction, kills the connection. And so be mindful around creating a balance and creating specific opportunities for your man to lean in, for your man to provide you with something that you would love. One of my coaching clients on one of our last calls said, Matt, I can't believe it's taken me till 48 years old before I really understood feminine energy. My whole life, I've never understood this. And now I understand that when I'm making requests for what I would love and then men step up and serve me, she goes, it is so much fun. I am having a blast. Because here's the truth. No matter how much we like someone, if we shrink ourselves, if we silence our voice, if we settle for what's less than what we really want, we ultimately betray ourselves. Contrary, when we actually hold our boundaries, when we maintain the amazing life that we have, when we know who we are, and we bring that in a balanced way to our relationship, the right guy is going to match us. The right guy is going to be drawn to that relationship, and you will create something amazing. My question for you is, what's something that you would love for your man to contribute and bring to the relationship that you're in? Maybe you're in a relationship now, something that he does that you absolutely love, or the man that you're calling in. What do you want him to contribute or bring to the relationship? I would love to hear that in the comment section below. I appreciate you. Here's to your amazing, expanding love life. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.